on December 20th, 1984, in the small town of Greeley, Colorado. A 12-year-old girl named Jonelle Matthews sings in her school's Christmas concert, and later that night, she's dropped off at her home. The house was quiet, so quiet. And in that quiet night, Jonelle disappears. For the next 35 years, no one would know where she went or what really happened. But when the truth finally emerged, it would expose a darkness far closer than anyone ever imagined. Jonelle Matthews was born in 1972 and adopted at birth by Jim and Gloria Matthews. She was smart, lively, and well-liked at school. On the night of December 20th, 1984, Jonelle had a performance with her school choir. Her father was away at her sister's basketball game, so a friend's family offered to drive her home. At 8:15 p.m., Jonelle was dropped off in front of her house. She contacted her father and told him that she's home, safe and sound. However, she walked inside, and then silence. Her father returned home at around 9:30 p.m. He found the house completely undisturbed. Her shoes sat near the heater and the TV was on, but Jonelle was gone. There were no signs of a struggle, no footprints in the snow, no clues. Police launched a full-scale investigation. Her case gained national attention. Even the White House took notice. But despite endless leads, nothing came of it. It was as if Jonelle had simply vanished from the world. The Matthews family held on to hope, but the years dragged on. In 1994, a decade after her disappearance, Jonelle was declared legally dead, and for many, the case was closed. But Jonelle was still out there, just not alive. In July of 2019, 35 years later, construction workers made a chilling discovery. A set of human remains buried in a shallow grave near an oil field. The location was rural, isolated, and the body had been there for decades. Dental records confirmed it. Jonelle Matthews had finally been found. Shortly after her remains were identified, an old name resurfaced: Stephen Pankey, a former neighbor, a religious zealot, a man who'd run for governor of Idaho, but more importantly, a man who couldn't stop talking about Jonelle's case. He'd inserted himself into the investigation, offered wild claims, demanded immunity in exchange for information, and he knew things that weren't public. Details that only the killer would know. Pankey knew he was a person of interest in September 2019 when he was interviewed by the Idaho Statesman. Pankey told the newspaper that he did not know Matthews or her family and had only heard about them following the disappearance. He said he and his wife were home on the night of the disappearance. He said they were planning to leave town the next day for a Christmas visit with family members in Big Bear Lake, California, and had already loaded their car. Decades later, Pankey provided investigators with documents concerning this trip, which police said contained false statements and superfluous details. A few months following Matthews's disappearance, Pankey attended a church service where a minister claimed that the girl would be found safe. Hicks claimed to have heard Pankey muttering in response, accusing the minister of being a false prophet. In 2008, Pankey's son was murdered. At his son's funeral, Hicks reportedly heard Pankey say, "I hope God didn't allow this to happen because of Jonelle Matthews." the police announced that Pankey had long been a person of interest in the case. Pankey repeatedly claimed to have knowledge of the crime and had asked for immunity in exchange for information. Pankey had claimed that on the evening of Matthews's abduction, a rake was used to cover up tracks left in the snow. Pankey's ex-wife, Angela Hicks, said they started their trip on December 22nd, 2 days after Matthews's disappearance. She also said this trip was unexpected. Hicks said they returned on December 26th, and Pankey took an unusual interest in the disappearance. She also said that after their return, Pankey forced her to read to him newspaper articles concerning the case. In 2018, Pankey had campaigned for the Idaho Republican Party's nomination for the position of governor of Idaho. His campaign website said that Pankey has even studied criminal justice. In 2020, Pankey was arrested and charged with kidnapping and murder. The trial revealed disturbing patterns. A man obsessed with control, power, and secrets. After decades of waiting, in 2022, he was finally convicted. Jonell's story had an ending, but it came far too late. Jonell Matthews was just 12 years old when her life was taken. Her disappearance haunted a town. Her silence echoed for decades, and her story is a reminder that monsters don't always hide in forests. Sometimes they live next door. Sometimes they go to church. And sometimes they run for office.